hearing this?
Anybody hear that?
How can we possibly have the slightest idea what to expect?
Well, we're back.
Hold on to your butts.
Welcome to the Jurassic Park podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic, including the movies, TV shows, music, toys, and more. In episode 415, Tom Jurassic is back to take a closer look at some of the finer details of the latest Jurassic World Rebirth trailer. Now, you can watch us talk over on YouTube if you want to, or you can just listen to us here on the podcast, but we had an absolutely great time theorizing about the movie, talking about those mutadons, the time frame of this film, when and where, what's going on, and of course our struggles with some of the story elements and how this all fits into the grander universe. We talk about all that and more, so stay tuned for the, it was a decently lengthy conversation, a little bit longer than I expected, but still within that just over an hour time frame, but I hope you enjoy it. And speaking of Tom, Tales from a Jurassic World is out now on the Tales from a Jurassic World YouTube channel and also on at Tom_Jurassic's Instagram as well. So be sure to go support him over on those places. But as always, in addition to those, you will be able to find Tales from a Jurassic World here on the podcast feed every Tuesday. So stay tuned every Tuesday leading up to Jurassic World Rebirth as the final season of Tales from a Jurassic World plays out in particularly grand fashion. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's pretty excellent. And of course, while you're listening to this episode, hit us up on Blue Sky to continue the conversation. And as always, please check out our live streams on Wednesday nights discussing all of the latest Jurassic news from around the world, 9 p.m. EST each and every Wednesday night. Also, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter for all things Jurassic, movies, TV shows, my podcast, and other thoughts and appearances. Find the link to the newsletter on JurassicParkPodcast.com/newsletter. But it is time, so let's go ahead and dive into the conversation with Tom Jurassic as we break down the final trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth.
Do you want me to hit you with an introduction?
No, man, you don't. There's no introductions needed. I know who you are. We all know who you are.
I'm hit. It's all right. I'm hitting the formal introduction. So,
All right.
good afternoon, good morning, or good day wherever you are, listeners. Welcome to another episode of the Jurassic Park podcast. I'm your host, Tom Jurassic, and this here, my lovely sidekick, who is on my other side, is Brad Jost.
Yeah, drinking way too hot of coffee right now, and it almost burned my mouth. So, what's up, man? How's it going?
It's good, man. Yeah, it is good. I am excited for this episode because in this episode, we are going to be breaking down trailer 2 for Jurassic World Rebirth.
Whoa, I like this new Tom. This is like, this is like full, like Tom's like, he's gonna get into the industry. He is like gonna be a new
this is post Tom after
show
talking
host
at a social media conference.
Yeah, he knows what's up. Don't mess with Tom.
This energy is gonna fade.
Oh, well, hopefully that's not a reflection on your thoughts on the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth, because yeah, I think
No.
this popped up on Tuesday, and I watched it right away, and we were wondering, when is it going to pop up? Is it going to pop up at 8 a.m. Eastern here? It actually popped up a little bit before that, and you didn't get a chance to see it until like later in the day, right? So you had to sit and wait for a while before you actually caught the trailer, right?
It was quite funny because I was sat in the conference and then I got 3 or 4 different messages that were all just like, have you seen the new trailer? And I was like, great, I'm not going to be watching this for another 6 hours. And that was pretty much my day. And the conference I was at was in London, which is a little commute from where I live. So I think I got home about 9 o'clock in the evening, shoved some pasta down my throat, and then immediately put my little vlog camera on and was like, okay, I need to record a reaction to the trailer now.
Yeah, and you did it. You got there, and it's okay. It's no rush. Nobody needs to react to this stuff as fast as we all try to do. But what'd you think? Did you think this was an upgrade from the first trailer?
Yeah. So what I So I have mixed feelings, and we'll talk about it as we go through. I think some of the stuff they show in this trailer they didn't need to show, and it would have been better to show it in the film.
Hmm.
But on the flip side of that, I think in terms of Jurassic franchise history, this trailer is so better than any of the trailers we got for Jurassic World's trilogy, purely because it doesn't give everything away. And what they did really nicely was still keep a lot of the plot of the film a mystery. At least now, I mean, I feel like you can piece some stuff together, and we're going to talk about that as we go through because there are a few discussion points I've kind of got in mind. But I think that on the whole, this isn't like your Fallen Kingdom or your Dominion trailers where the kind of second and then third trailer gives everything away. I feel like this still preserves a good level of mystery, and crucially, I can confirm on the press portal this is listed as the final trailer. So we're
Yeah.
not going to get another trailer, which means we are still going into this with quite a bit unknown, which is really good. So I have to say straight off the bat, kudos to Universal for clearly listening to the criticism that they got for the previous films and showing a bit more restraint with the trailers this time around.
Yeah, I was trying to get some feelers as far as like what people were thinking, and I have heard a few people saying like, "Oh man, I wish they didn't reveal so much," and I'm kind of like shocked just because
Mm.
I feel like they really haven't revealed all that much when you think of it compared to other
Yeah,
movies. Um, Personally, I feel like the trailers for like Dominion and the others, I guess, probably hit me better than this one. I still feel like I'm a little like detached from what is happening here and the whole like just behind
mm,
the scenes of it all more so than anything, I guess. So I still love the trailer. I thought it was really excellent and it definitely hyped me up absolutely so much because there's a lot of really cool visuals and things. But I do feel like they've done such a good job at listening to us. Like you said, they've been listening
yeah,
somehow and they've realized like let's not give away everything that's in this movie. And that's pretty cool.
yeah,
We are getting dialogue and we are getting like some thoughts and directives as far as like where this movie is going, but it's really not like diving into like a lot of context and a lot of other stuff. So I feel like that's a huge like A plus for this movie because I don't know what your grading system is
yeah.
in the UK, but A plus that's good for us. You probably have like I don't even know what is it? What's your best score? Is it an A plus?
I I mean, at a higher level, it would be a distinction star.
Okay, you got a distinction star. Hopefully, this trailer gets a distinction star for the amount of stuff that I feel like it kept under wraps. Now, again, I don't know. I mean, we don't
Mm,
really know. Like, this could be the entire movie, and they have given it all away. But
mm,
I feel like from day one to now, it's really not all that much that they've given away. They've stayed
yeah,
consistent with the stuff they're showing. Yes, they've expanded upon like, oh, we get a different shot of the Distortus Rex. Now we're getting the Mutadons and and some other sequences and things. But
yeah,
really, it's just been the same like 3 or 4 sequences over and over again, just expanded upon. And I gotta give it a shout out, give them like a huge shout out for that because that's what I've been wanting this whole time. At the same
yeah,
time, I'm like, oh, I want to see more, but like, I feel like I'm pretty content right now to say like, I'm good.
yeah,
I'm good with what I've seen, and it should be enough. I mean, it's going to be enough to get me in the theater. I think it should be enough to get other people in the theater. And of course, this will not be it. Like you said, it is the final trailer, but we all know that there will be TV spots and stuff like that. It will be there
exactly.
will be probably some other stuff revealed because TV spots can be a little tricky. Sometimes they reveal a little bit too much
Mm,
as you lead right up to the movie, which is always disappointing. But you know, try to avoid your eyes from those, I guess.
yeah, no, I think that's a really fair point. I think you kind of touched on the one thing that I was sad in a way to see in this trailer, which is the Mutadons. Purely because I feel like we had already seen the Distortus, so it would have been cool to kind of have that as a reveal in the film. But I kind of get it because A, it was shown at CinemaCon, so I think if you then didn't show it anywhere else after the descriptions had leaked. That's not great for the publicity. But also, B, I think people are so checked out on the concept of hybrids after Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and mutants cross into that hybrid category quite a bit. So I kind of almost feel like this was Universal's way of prepping audiences by showing it all up front and basically being like, look, we are doing this again just so you're aware and you come into it with that expectation.
Yeah. And they all look like mutants to me because the cats and different things, they all look so different, but like I feel like they've done a good job of grounding these mutant dinosaurs and stuff. They've, the mutadons, let me bring up a picture of them while we're talking about it, but I have some slides and things we can go through. Let's see, is this the right one? Boom, there we go. This thing looks, I think it looks so good. I think it looks really cool. Like the pattern on there is awesome. I think the face is really cool looking, very scary looking.
Yeah.
And I also just love like the way it like burrows its head into, because it can like stretch itself out
Yeah.
and be kind of elongated, but then it like kind of burrows itself in, very bird-like. Look at the pose. Like it's such a good design. And what do you think? Do you think these things fly? Do they fly now?
Well, do you want me to hit you with a theory?
Hit me with a
I can
theory.
hit you with a theory.
That's
straight
all
off the bat.
podcasting is, my guy.
Okay,
just...
let me just scroll through the trailer quickly to find the shot. So there's a shot at 1 minute 34 in the trailer, and don't feel like you have to pull this up, Brad. But if you are looking at the trailer, it is 1 minute 34. And it's a shot of either, I think, let me press play on it so I can see. It looks like it's Dr. Loomis firing a flare into the air, and there's a spotlight from a helicopter in the air.
This is not 134 on my side. What the heck? Okay, I see it. On my side, it's 139. Yeah. Weird.
Oh wow, that's
you know what?
interesting.
I'm using the ProRes one, which actually has like the PG-13 text in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's probably why. But let me go over there.
So you've got this shot of the flare being fired off and the helicopter in the distance, and you're gonna hate me because I'm about to make you move the shot again. So keep that in mind, and then you have got the shot at
the helicopter shot from the other part.
Yes, the helicopter crash shot. So that is 126 on this. So it'll probably be 129 on that. There you go. That works. So my theory right now. And this could very well be a helicopter from the Distortus Rex breakout, okay? So this could be something that crashed during that incident where that animal gets out of containment. It could be a team that's been to the... scroll up a bit. Okay, that's interesting. So it's a US military helicopter because there's a star on the door.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. I mean, that changes the context a little bit, because it could have landed here at any point. It could be quite an old helicopter. But equally, I was wondering if maybe this helicopter gets taken out by the Mutadons.
That would be cool, dude. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but yeah, the two helicopters...
However...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, looking at it and looking at the frame afterwards, the corpse with the handgun is quite deteriorated. So I think actually this is older. Yeah. But what I wonder if maybe this is foreshadowing. So if this we're assuming the Distortus breaks out at some point. As far as we see in the trailer, the scientists are able to contain it, but one of them dies in the process because they don't get out in time. Which, side note, very Godzilla 2014 opening. But what could theoretically happen there is the Distortus still manages to escape. In the chaos, that causes the other animals to escape. So we see that the Mutadon is in the containment pod that's in the lab next to the Distortus. If that escapes and damages that, could potentially lead to them coming out of containment. And then I wonder if they are what has taken down this helicopter during that incident. And that could then potentially be foreshadowing for the fact that when they try to escape during the nighttime and the helicopter comes in, the helicopter gets taken out by the mutadons. Because what I did notice is the mutadons are outside the gas station during the night sequence as well. So they're in the same proximity to where the helicopter is coming in, and we know that these are creatures that can presumably fly.
Okay. Yeah. So but you still think that these are two different helicopters, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's at first glance. I was like, oh, look, obviously, like this goes wrong and the helicopter crashes.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the hand and you're like, oh yeah, that's been decayed. You might have some better insight that that weapon at least looks current enough to me. I would assume.
I think it looks like a Glock, and if it is a Glock or it's very similar to a Glock, then that, I mean, if I do a quick Google, the G17 first made. So the Glock, in its original form, has been around since 1982.
Okay,
So
but that's
that,
And this does look like I don't know, something about this helicopter shot does look like it is kind of old-ish, but not like
yeah.
I'm not talking about like Vietnam, like it's not like this, the scenes of like Kong Skull Island or anything like that.
Wow.
I'm thinking, what do you got? What do you got? You look up some helicopter information for me?
I mean, it's from a filming pick, so it's up to you as
okay,
to whether you want to cover it or not.
No, I guess not. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We don't have to cover it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just at least it doesn't look super old to me, but I don't know. I mean, I've been thinking at least that it's like 2010 era. That's kind of my thought process, at least.
You have got me thinking though. Is how long ago was the American Air Force using that star on the helicopters? Because they don't do it anymore, do they?
I don't know. And it looks so like just G.I. Joe to me. Like it doesn't actually, like, I don't know. Did they ever use something actually like that? Or is that just like,
they did. So, I mean, when you look at it, actually, so it's interesting that you reference Kong Skull Island, because actually that design is most prevalent during the 80s and 90s. So I almost wonder if maybe this is part of the lore of the original InGen facility. Because what I get the sense of here with this laboratory is that this was, and we've heard it feels like this was a facility that was active during the 90s, something went wrong, and then InGen came back in the early 2000s, and that's when they started developing the Distortus.
Yeah, I really hope we get any of that kind of context or information. That's what I'm afraid of, is that we're not going to touch on. Yeah, I'm afraid we're not going to touch on any of that stuff, because any discussion I have about this movie leads me down that path of like, okay, well, obviously we've got the story about the 90s, right? Or the 80s and 90s whenever this island was active, before, I don't know, before sort of Nublar, I don't know, somewhere in that time frame. And it's active, and then it's not active anymore for a long time. Yeah. And then it's reactivated again in the 2010s, 2005, something like that, around that era. And 2010 seems to be this timeline, 17 years earlier than the majority of this film, that we get this lab breakout sequence. So there's so many different eras. And then of course, obviously we have to jump to 2027 or whatever it is that this movie is set. Yeah. And say like, okay, what is this era? So there's like 3 different eras that we really need to touch on and wonder about, and there's so much to speculate on. And we're still literally speculating about Sorna and like what happened there and what went wrong there, and like the story is only really covered in Nublar. That's the only story we get, and we don't really know the context after that first movie. Like there's no context for that. So for the most part, I think we're just going to be sitting here speculating and creating our own headcanon. But you know, if something went down crazy in the 90s, that's a cool idea. And I think personally, I would love it if it was like centered around what the novel kind of focused on with creating their initial dinosaurs, which was like these dinosaurs that were too fast, too realistic, and they had to slow them down. They had to dumb them down a little bit. And that's why we ended up with what we got in Jurassic Park. So I hope that's part of the cause of this downfall of this place. I hope we get to see that to some extent. We've got, what did they say? 24 species, I think. Is that what it, 24?
So me and my reaction saying that means 24.
Yeah. So we have a lot of species to look into, and I didn't count them all. I haven't like tried that really. I actually did try it the other night on a live stream, and I was like, okay, T-Rex, and then I was like, oh, what have I done yet? I forgot what I've already said. So I was like, I can't do this. I literally can't do this. But like I'm curious of all these eras, and I hope we get something like that context from the book. And I think that would be really cool to have like these slowed down dinosaurs, or sped up dinosaurs. And it makes me think of the Distortus Rex toy, which is out right now, kind of, I guess. But like if you think of the motion on that thing, isn't it kind of like way too fast, way too crazy of like a shocking back and forth moment?
It almost seems too fast for its body. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I want. I want that out of that creature, and dude, like this whole movie needs it needs Dr. Henry Wu to be like our storyteller. Yeah. Like it really needs him.
So
to like if Scarlet like goes and sits down with him and he just tells the story of what happened. You're the only one left that knows anything about this island. Like, let's get them some context before they go. Dude, that would be so flawless, but I don't know that they're going to do that.
I don't think they will. So I have a really big concern with this film, and it's why, like, I'm excited for it, but I'm excited for it because I know that Gareth Edwards will realise the set pieces well. And from what we've seen so far, he knows how to shoot dinosaurs. He knows how to shoot large-scale cinema and make it look really good. So from a spectacle standpoint, right, of seeing dinosaurs in cool scenarios interacting with humans, I know that this film is absolutely going to nail it. I think if you're a die-hard Jurassic fan, you are going to be bitterly disappointed, though. And the reason why I say that is because every discussion that I've had with people, it really sounds as if this film has taken a very soft approach to the lore. So there's a lot of talk out there that this film was originally thought of as a soft reboot. And for whatever reason, Universal were concerned about rebooting, so they then made it more tie into things. But the issue is it was never intended to tie into things, so a lot of those connections are going to feel strenuous at best, and they're probably going to undo a lot of the lore that we already understand, which is why there's already question marks around this. Because, I mean, just take that helicopter, for example. I hate to be the person to do this, but if that's a government helicopter, and let's say that crashed during the 90s, why the hell would they have then let Sorna continue to be an island that was restricted, yes, by 97, but they weren't really involved in it? Why would they have let InGen continue as a company? Why would they have not stopped Jurassic World? It just becomes more problematic, I think. And I think that's a big issue that has been birthed into this franchise the longer it's gone on, which is Universal feel very reluctant to let go of the legacy of the franchise, so they're constantly trying to find a way to tie it back towards Jurassic Park, but it gets to the point where you're trying to tell new stories, and I don't think you need to tie it to the original. You need to just accept that that original was that story. We're now in a different place now. Like, can you imagine if the intro to this story was something along the lines of, oh, during the 90s, InGen weren't the only people creating dinosaurs. Immediately, you've opened a new story thread. You've kept your connection because you can do the novel thing, of saying this is somebody who has stolen genetic samples and has then used them to build their own dinosaurs, but actually you're not tethering yourself to the past. So I think that is genuinely a big issue that this franchise is going to face the longer it goes on, is this idea of constantly having to be tethered in Jurassic Park whilst moving it forward for the future. Jurassic Park was phenomenal. If you want to tell more stories with that era of InGen, then do it, but do it within the confines of Isla Nublar and the established world from that time. Don't constantly stretch the plausibility of that to continue to link back to it in ways that don't feel natural.
Yeah, dude, very well said. I feel like sometimes it's like a fear to commit to stuff, to the canon and to the lore. And if that's the case, if we don't get these tie-ins, I will be severely disappointed, I think. But like you said, I do trust Gareth, and I trust like the script's going to be cool. I trust the cast, and everything's going to look awesome and be awesome. And I'm going to have a great time. But once we come back here to the studio and start talking about stuff and start lingering on it for a while, I hope I'm not going to be disappointed that these threads are left untouched and unconnected. But what are you going to do? It's interesting. It kind of makes me think about like the conversations surrounding Andor. Did you get a chance to watch Andor at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not going to spoil anything or really talk about it too much. I just wanted to mention like the creator, Tony Gilroy, obviously very connected with Gareth Edwards because of Rogue One. Yeah. And there's drama there as far as who did what and what happened there. But like the fact is like Gareth Edwards was a fan, right? He was a fan, and he is a fan of Jurassic too, right? Obviously. But like Tony Gilroy, not a fan, like doesn't care at all about the lore and the history and all that stuff. So when he goes to make Andor, he's talking about it a lot in interviews, and it's kind of funny if you read any of his interviews. Just it shows how much he really doesn't even care about the insight into canon and stuff like that. He's just like, I just made a cool story, like and he made an incredible story. But I do find it funny because like he says this constantly. He's like, oh, we didn't want to like refer to other stuff from the past movies and things, and we didn't want to like tie it to other canon stuff, and there's not going to be cameos and all this crazy stuff. I mean, but the thing is that show literally is all cameos and all ties. Yeah. There's things in that show that he doesn't even know exist as far as like canonical ties that like people were in charge of putting in the backgrounds of sets and characters that he probably doesn't even know are tied to like the grander Star Wars.
Lugana?
Yeah, like there's this hilarious interview which I read on the Forcecast of him like talking all about this dog that he added into the show. He's like, the dog, we had to do so much research about the dog. And he's talking about a cat. It's not even a dog. It's a cat, and it's a Star Wars like a Tukey cat, I think. It's not a Loth cat or Loth cat. It was a different kind of cat. But like it's just funny that he's so disconnected from that story. So that's I'm gonna hope that is kind of the context that you're hearing things, or that the general fandom is hearing things that it's not going to be too super connected, blah blah blah, whatever. It's not going to be this or that, and then hopefully it is. I'm hoping it is, just based off of Andor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the thing is like if. Like, this is I feel like this is an issue in storytelling across the cinema industry at the moment.
Oh, for sure.
Which is everybody wants the impact that phases 1 to 3 of the MCU had, but nobody wants to put in the work. And the truth of that is that worked so well because every story was connected. And it felt like there was that sense of continuity throughout them that ultimately built to Infinity War and Endgame. And I think a lot of these tentpole franchises have seen the success that Marvel had there. Granted, they've messed it up subsequently to some capacity and are now working on course correcting that. But I think a lot of people have seen the success that they've had and have thought, oh, we can do that. But what they're not thinking about is all of the work that went in to get to Endgame and Infinity War. Like, can you imagine if we had just had Infinity War and Endgame? It wouldn't have had anywhere near the impact that those films had.
And that was
because you
Justice
spent
League.
time getting to know all of those characters. Yeah,
That was quite literally
that's
what
it.
happened.
That's exactly it. That is literally it to a T. So I think that's the issue. Is I think the cinema industry right now is like, oh my god, we have got to be the next Marvel, but none of them understand how Marvel approach that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But let's so we've got some negatives, and it's still lingering. You know, I feel like this lingers on me a lot just because I'm just worried about that kind of stuff, the canonical stuff, and hopefully tying. But like, let's think. Like in this trailer, there are, you know, we do have bits of InGen shoutouts. You know, we can see it in the lab sequence. You know, it's all over the walls and stuff. Let's go to the shot of that real quick because, oops, that's the wrong one. Let's go to this one. There we go. So this lab, this is what we're supposedly assuming is like the 2010 era. We've got the InGen logo up there. We've got, well, two InGen logos, I guess, two different ones. So we're tying it to that. There's obviously like conversation in the trailer about like the research facility for the original park. Is there anything else that ties us to the original movies at all?
I don't think so. Apart from some of the signage, like the 10,000 watts signage being later in the trailer. But I do just want to make a very fun observation here, which is it's very comical to me in some ways that the lab uses the same design language as Biosyn. Because I literally am thinking back to the interview I did with Kev Jenkins when he said they used the yellow for the color of the amber in the Biosyn lab, and you can see that so much more
it's
here.
The same thing.
I find it quite interesting. Whereas I think with Dominion, at least they grounded the laboratory we see in the 90s era Jurassic Park. This, I think it would have been interesting to see something that maybe looked a little bit more like the laboratory that Wu was working in Jurassic World.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna say, like, let me see if I can bring up like a Jurassic World era lab. Let's see. Let's take a look, see what we can find here real quick. Jurassic World era lab. Let's see. Very different.
I think they tend to use the color blue a lot more.
That's Camp Cretaceous, but that kind of looks similar. The Camp Cretaceous version of a genetic lab that looks pretty similar. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of blues and stuff. This is. I'm assuming, like, I always wonder why it was so dark. Why is it so dark? Is that does it need to be dark? This is a live tour or something. This is not the movie, right? Oh, no, this is the movie.
That's the exhibition. Oh no, that is the movie.
There's like kids on tour and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is obviously not the same kind of facility. This is like a lock. Like this is like something that's you're keeping something in, but it just feels so different from any like Jurassic World era stuff. So I
think it says a lot about how important design language is.
There's like so many pictures. They're all like super blurry and stuff. But like, where are these pictures? Is this from
They're
like,
all
the
from
old
the
Jurassic
original
World?
Isla Nublar website. Yeah.
The old website. Yeah, there's so many pictures. I actually like never really realized how many pictures are just lingering around of the Jurassic World lab. But yeah, you can tell it at least looks pretty different. But hey, the Camp Cretaceous kind of got it right. So if that's if that's what we're gonna talk about, but yeah, this is some kind of interesting facility because this has it has some sort of containment unit, right? That's what's going on here. Do you think there's a second wall? It looks like there's a second wall back there. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong image.
Assume so.
But you assume so. Yeah, back there, it looks like, dude, I almost pinched and grabbed my screen to like zoom in on my computer monitor. That's not how computers work for me. But
I mean, I could see it being like an airlock.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Either way, like what kind of containment unit is this? So we know that they're in this thing, and you can see on. Oops, let's go a little bit forward here. There are two or three employees right there on the screen. Ooh, you can see my mouse. And
I'm gonna regret saying this because I'll probably get some hate for this in the comments. But the more I see of this, the more I don't like it. Like, I love the concept of a modern lab, but this, like, I mean, even the screens. I'm sorry, but they look like something from Star Trek. Like,
yeah, it's like
it feels very futuristic, and
it's retro
yeah,
futuristic though. It's like Alien. It's like any of that stuff. Like
yes,
old
but the
technology,
issue,
but like fancy sci-fi looking, right?
yeah. And the issue I have with that is yet where if we are to take the law as it is, or if we are to take the timeline as it is, we're meant to believe that this facility is before the facilities in Jurassic World.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So even what we did just compare is still 5 years later. so
Yeah,
so those are the newer facilities. This is an older facility, but built in that 2005, 2010 era. Somewhere around there.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I think
but
the more I see, the more I feel like, being brutal. I feel like this film is going to need us to suspend our disbelief a little bit.
sorry, I having too much fun
Are
moving
you
this
trying
guy.
trying to make a new Dodgson meme?
So I was looking at the gunshots and I'm like, oh, this guy's doing something funny over here. But yeah, there's gunshots. So they go into whatever this lab, this like containment unit is. So I imagine there's got to be multiple sets, and I would assume that this is some like, I don't know. It's really hard to talk about like canonical stuff because if they're not talking with each other, then I don't know how much of this is going to correlate. But like the stuff that we see in Camp Cretaceous with the Scorpius, like that's in like a cryo chamber kind of thing. So in my mind, maybe there is like a cryo chamber, like 2 layers back into this containment unit that the thing breaks out of somehow. A compy eats a wire or something, right? And that's the coolant goes offline and the thing breaks out and they think they're safe. But how safe do they think they are? Because they are bringing weapons, like automatic weapons, into this lab.
Well, and if you pause it, I'm not going to make you pause it, but on that screen, the people who are wearing hazmat suits aren't just wearing hazmat suits. You can see they've got black tactical vests on as well on the screen.
On here?
So clearly they're geared up. Yeah, look, there you go. You've paused it perfectly. So if you get the ProRes version and zoom in on that, so don't do it now, but zoom in whenever you want to, or you could try and do it now. You can see that they've clearly got tactical vests on. I took a screenshot of it and then zoomed in.
I was gonna say, I was like, I can't figure out how to zoom in on this. That's why I tried to pinch and zoom. That's what I do on the iPad over here.
They've got additional equipment, so it's clear that they're some kind of security personnel.
It looks like there's 3 people in there. That's what I'm.
I don't know why I'm on such a downer today, because I was genuinely quite excited for this, but that then makes me sit here and go, why are they using lethal weapons instead of the ACU equipment?
Yeah. I mean, at least trank the thing. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't really know what's happening there. And I don't really know what any of this equipment this guy is using here. This is pretty interesting stuff. But we see the next shot. We do see like 2 people running out of there is a second lock. You can see like the second lock back there open. So the red light's pouring in. You've got the D-Rex on there, version 2.3.1. No, I think it's not. I think it's 2.3. But if it's version 23, dude, that's sick. Like, what are they doing? They're just like killing off so many of these things. Sorry, I'm choking. But like, either way, we've got multiple versions of this thing in play. It's hard to see if there's like a better screen grab of like, but I think there is a period there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. There is one there.
But they easily get out of this thing. So they just like push this open and then
Also, can we appreciate that? I mean, this lends credence to the idea that this isn't an accident. This is an experiment that leads towards hybrids and the Indominus.
Yeah.
Which adds more to your theory about Wu, because surely this is their attempt to make a hybrid. Because if it was a mutation that you didn't mean to happen, why the hell would you make a second version of it?
Yeah. And I think the Scorpius was actually before this still, right? I think it was like 2009 or something like that. Wasn't it like way earlier?
It's yeah.
I don't know. So would they have like, I think it was 2009. I don't know why that's like sticking into my mind, but
let me Google it. Yeah, no, you're right. 2009.
So
on
Isla
Nublar as part of E750.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like they started on Nublar, right, with the E750.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no. Let's go to this. We can't do this here. Let's freeze this one and keep it here. And we at least know we can do something.
Canonically, that could make sense. Yeah. Yeah, because they're like, do you know what? We can't risk having this outbreak on Nublar. Let's reactivate this old facility. But then that's the point at which you have the explanation, and that's what I don't think we're going to get. And I wonder if we're ever going to get that. That's kind of my question mark. You know, like, are we gonna? Is there potentially another show in the future that explains that? Is there some form of extended media that explains it, or
is there some guy in the community that could like write a story and put it out for the world to hear? There's all these questions we have.
I think his name is Gerard Boast.
No, not him. He's not going to do it. But we see these two people. So two people get out here, right? And then this third person. So there were the three people in there. Here you can see that there is that containment unit over there on the side that has a mutadon in it.
Yes.
And
so there's an interesting observation about that, because when the opening shots in the lab, I was, again, the advantage of the ProRes for anyone who doesn't know.
And you can see the claw.
Content creation credentials. Yeah. If you have content creation credentials, you can sign up to platforms that give you access to the ProRes materials that are shared by Universal. And that's basically the raw file, so it preserves all of the detail. And if you zoom in on the sign around that, you can see that it doesn't say Mutadon, it says Raptor. So the sign is changing between Mutadon and Raptor.
Yeah, it's like a rotating like Chiron kind of thing.
It's a rolling sign. So I'm really curious as to why is it changing between them? Is that just evidencing what it used to be before it became a Mutadon?
Well, I don't know. Does it say, I forget, does it actually fully say Mutadon, or does it say like...
It does later in the trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought so. And that's where it shows it, like we're in the current timeline. I think it says that. So weird. Why would it say that both? Because let's take a tangent and talk about that for a second, because we also do have screenshots of that, and I brought this up on the live stream the other day, but yeah, this is the original shot. Very, very different than what we got. So when we first got the trailer, and this is new. This is like 2010 era. It looks like, at least. It looks brand new and shiny. So everything about the vibe of this shot doesn't fully match what we saw. So like this feels like it's under different context. So I don't really know what the context of this shot is, or if this shot even makes it in. But what we at least see, I think, in the other shot though, where is that one? That one's up here. I don't know. That's dark. Oh, this is later on, obviously. This is like
and you can see it says Muta-D. At the bottom there, it's still rolling through, but it is a Mutadon instead. But interestingly, it almost looks like there's ice speckles on the Mutadon. So I almost wonder if we might see it mutate in real time. Like if they had accidentally made a two-headed raptor, and they're like, well, let's try and mutate. I actually reckon that's it. I reckon they accidentally make a two-headed raptor, and they go, "Well, can we mutate this thing further?"
So you think
and
just because they
maybe
messed up the first time that they try to continue to mess it up more?
I wonder if that's how the mutadons end up being born, because they just kind of break into two. You could say, Brad,
that'd
they
be kind of
generate.
disgusting. Yeah. I like that idea. Let's go. But we've got this shot. I just think like this raptor, it's breaking my heart, dude, that we don't necessarily get to see this one. If that's the case, like we
I
very
wanted a Mattel figure of a two-headed raptor.
I know we very well may see like what you just described is like a mutation. Like we might actually see this, but I can't imagine that in my head right now of seeing this shot and then seeing like boom, boom, wings pop out, and then another arm, and then another like that just feels like a little too silly. Like I don't know how that would work, but But I don't know.
I'll pretend you didn't just call my idea silly, Brad, but continue.
No, because I had that idea as well. I talked about it the other night on the live stream, like the talk of the you actually see the physical mutation of it.
It's all right, Brad. You've said it now. It's fine.
Whatever. But like I actually could see this go forward. Like, so this is maybe one of the original shots that we see, and then in 17 years time is maybe the change happened in that 17 years time. So it's no longer this two-headed raptor. It's now the mutadon. It grew it and it changed in the tube. But I don't know how that explains the ones running around necessarily. And they don't look anything like this. Like this head looks nothing like what we see in the other one. So that's the difference there for me is the fact that the head this is clearly like the mutadon head here. Yeah. Like this is very.
I mean, it could easily be a different containment module. That's the thing we're not saying.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think this is still the same position.
Could use the same design in different places.
For
all we know, there's a row of several of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it absolutely could be. And I do think that these are the same. If you like, sorry, I'm got like a ton of images, but these do look like the same spots. Like you got a row of lights here.
Yeah,
You've got
you
like
are
concrete.
Right, to be fair. Yeah.
So the row of lights there, some work, some don't. So I feel like it is the same location. Is that location the same that we see like in the beginning of the trailer? It's to be seen. Yeah, I think it could be.
There is a row of lights in front of it.
There is a row of lights right there. And there is like handrails and stuff, which I kind of think you might see in one of the images. Yeah, you do see handrails in like this image. I'm flipping back and forth, but yeah. So, but this image, I don't know.
That's definitely that lab.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what? I'm going to put a bet on this, actually. I think that's the two-headed raptor in this sequence. Because that's all lit up nicely and everything. I then think the mutadon might be in a different one, but we'll see.
It's hard to say, though, because it does look like there's a wing.
But that's the container that says raptor.
But it also says Tadon currently on my screen.
True.
But I do think like if you look like right above my head, there is like a wing.
It changes
I think
between them as they go. Yeah. Maybe it's like a metal arm that comes up with the raptor, drops down, and then when it says mutadon, the mutadon appears instead.
Or maybe it's like
one of those transforming kids' toys.
Maybe it's like the Rock's goatee in like the Fast 5 movie where like it's there and then it's not there in one scene, and we get Raptor, but then we get Mutadon in one scene. It just flip-flops back and forth.
No, honestly, it can't be worse than the most recent episode of Doctor Who. I won't tell you which one, Brad, but there's a new episode where there's a unit soldier, and literally their gun in one clip has got a magazine in it. The next clip, the magazine's missing from the gun. Then the next clip, the magazine's back in. And the next clip, the magazine's out. It's the worst piece of continuity I've ever seen.
It says there, yeah, Engine Laboratories, I think, or something like that. What else can we see? We've only looked at literally 30 seconds of this trailer, so we got to move it along a little bit. Yeah, but I was heartbroken by this actor here. Really does a fantastic job of like,
Yeah.
screaming like the terror of this moment. Like,
I recognize him, but I don't know what from.
I don't know, but man, in 2010, this thing's
I did
big,
think
dude.
it was Gareth at first.
I mean, he's in Rogue One. He's in a lot of the movies that he does. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in here somewhere. He probably gets eaten or something like that at some point. He could be in this lab. He's part of the crew that accepts the Death Star plans. So
True, very
dude, look
true.
at that! Look at that
So,
mouth. Like, dude, that's so cool. Oh my god, looks like Godzilla.
It's
to be
so
honest.
ominous, isn't it? So I think we then get some shots on the boat, which I don't think we necessarily.
No,
need
there's
to
not
talk
not
about.
much to
It's
cover
more
here.
of the same. We then do get a shot of them going through that. Yeah, that perfect. And what I find really interesting with this is the fact that there is all of the old mining equipment there, but also the stuff in the backdrop, so the pipes, etc. They're the exact same pipes that are used in the model for the geothermal power plant in Jurassic World Evolution, and I think that was based off of the Lost World. So what this makes me think of is the fact that we might be seeing geothermal power on this island potentially.
That'd be cool. What do you think the mining's about? Is it amber related? Because like they're in the Dominican in Jurassic Park.
I wonder if it's the first place where they tried it, or do you know what would be quite interesting actually? If this was a different extraction method they tried that didn't work. So maybe this was them, because that's massive mining equipment. Do you know what this could be actually? I think there is some science based on the idea of being able to get DNA out of bones, and the whole idea is you would need an absolute ton of fossil material to be able to get DNA out. So maybe this was their original plan before they found a more cost-effective way to do it.
Yeah, it could be. I have no idea. I have no idea what the mining equipment could be.
I just want to point out to you, Brad.
There's two.
There's two. Yeah.
There's two containers. Yeah, I know. But I also want to point out that there are no dinosaurs in these ones. So where's the one with the dinosaur in it? Because the one with the dinosaur in it was the one up here in the front, and you can tell like they've disintegrated or something.
The other side of the airlock.
Yeah, I don't know. They've like disintegrated. You can see like material at the bottom. It's like kind of disgusting looking. Yeah. But there's the airlock thing that we saw, in the past, and I don't know. Place is all messed up still.
Yeah.
And there's that. So it's like, I don't know, man, where this is supposed to be located. I assumed it was right next to it, but maybe not. But they've got the power working again to some extent. So let's move on to the T-Rex here. What do you think?
Yes.
What's your thoughts on the T-Rex scene?
I'll be really honest. The first thing I noticed was the eye. And I think the eye on the CGI is a little bit funny. It just looks a bit weird to me for some reason. But beyond that, the Rex looks fantastic. And like the movement with it throughout this sequence as we go through, with it going down into the water and then swimming through, it's just you have far too much fun. It's just
I know.
It's absolutely incredible. Like the shot that sticks out to me the most is the shot where Ruben has just come through the water and the Rex is stood like behind him on the rocks, roaring at him. I just think that looks absolutely incredible, and I'm really excited that it looks like we're getting a good beefy chunk of the raft sequence. Obviously, this isn't the raft sequence from the novel exactly, because there's different context here, but it takes inspiration from it in the best possible way, and I think it's going to be quite cool.
Yeah, I think this looks awesome. It looks very cool. Hopefully we haven't seen like 90% of it already. Hopefully there's more. This could be the one thing that we end up seeing.
The full raft sequence now.
Yeah, this could be the thing we end up seeing the entirety of. But I look forward to it. It looks very cool. To me, like, I don't know. I know a lot of people are talking about the Rex as if like, oh my god, it looks so much better than the Jurassic World era. To me, like
I'm gonna say something really controversial. It just
okay,
looks like the Jurassic World Rex to me.
same, dude. Thank you for
Is
saying
that
that.
yeah?
It looks exactly the same to me. Like everybody knows that I'm not like a super dinosaur aficionado. Like I love dinosaurs and I love all these different kinds and I love what I see mostly in the movies. Like in these movies, I necessarily can't be bothered too much to watch like these prehistoric planets and things like that, walking with dinosaurs. I know you're big on those kinds of things, but for me, what I see in the movies is like what they are. And this looks very much like the
Yeah,
one we've gotten before. And, down to like the coloring, the striping a little bit, if you look at
yeah,
that new Blur Rex, it looks very much like this. And this shot is surely
yeah.
showing it's got like a thicker body, I guess, but like it, it very much looks similar to what we've seen in the other Rexes.
I
This
think
kind of
this is
hybrid between
ish.
like the
Yeah,
bull and Rexy, I guess, in a way.
exactly. I am gonna be honest. I think this just shows that people see what they want to see, and that a lot of the time criticism should be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think criticism nowadays is more like it's absolute, like it's a unwavering fact that this dinosaur looks better than the others. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
go back and look. Like, I know Jurassic World didn't always have some of the best moments, but like the end of that movie, like it looks fantastic. Not the moment where it's looking down like at Blue or whatever. That's a terrible looking moment. Fallen Kingdom has some bad ones, but there's also great moments in there. And I think Dominion
yeah,
completely sells like what we're seeing here. This Dominion's CG is phenomenal. Like I don't understand
yeah. It
if there
looks
is hate to it. I don't understand that at all because it's phenomenal. But this also looks phenomenal. And I just, to me, I wish the Rex looked a little different, a little bit different than what we've already seen.
yeah. No, I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I was saying on previous thoughts and stuff that it does give me like Camp Cretaceous vibes right here. Like there's something about this shot in
Yes,
particular that looks like animated. Maybe
yeah.
it is that eye, but yeah.
So there is a really interesting point here, which is that at some point in this film, the family and the family and our rescue team are split up, and I think this confirms that it's not necessarily going to be when we expect, because you see at this point there is the four kids. No, not the four kids. The three kids and Reuben, the father, and they're all together in the raft, right? And the way this is cut, the next shot is then our rescue team on the island once they've already been stranded on the island. So we know from a previous photo that was released, the behind the scenes clip, that the boat gets stranded on the rocks because you could see the back of the boat on these rocks in that behind the scenes footage. So
Mhm.
at this point, the boat has been I can't remember what the term is for it. It's run aground. Okay. And they cut it so it sounds like they're hearing the Rex chasing the family in this sequence. But everything we've seen suggests that the family are on the boat with them when it gets attacked and then runs aground. So either these are two different points in the film and it's been cut to look like it's the same moment, or this might indicate to us that at some point when the boat is about to run aground, the rescue team send Reuben and the kids off of the boat in a raft to try and get to safety, and then they encounter the Rex. I just think there's something, it could be explained that way, like I've just outlined it, or there's something else going on with the timeline here, at which point it might be that the characters get separated from more of the story than we realise. I don't
Yeah.
quite know what the timeline is, but I just thought it was an interesting observation that it definitely has split the two groups at this point, and it does appear to be a bit of a misdirect.
Yeah. I have no idea like what the timeline is going to be because I'm confused because I would have thought that the big boat sequence happens before this, but now they're
Mm.
separated. In my mind, when I'm writing it, I would say like I would put one of the crew members with them or something, and it's maybe
Exactly.
one of the kids with the other crew, like split people up a little bit.
But to be
I don't know.
fair, you say that, for all we know, one of the crew members was with them, because if you remember the shot of when it's run aground and they're
Yeah.
sprinting towards the water, there is all of the blood in the water.
Yeah, so somebody could get chomped. But yeah, that would be a good point. In my mind, what I think happens here is like we've seen like a shot of like the Rex like sleeping,
Yeah.
next to that tree. I imagine like they're sneaking carefully, and they have
Yeah.
to open this boat. The boat pops open. They try to get away. The Rex slowly wakes up and chases them out. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna assume there. But yeah, this sequence looks really cool. I can't wait to see what the heck happens there. But what else we got? A lot of similar stuff. This shot here, how blown away were you when you saw all the
Love this shot.
Titanosaurs?
Yeah, dude, it's so sick. But also, how big is this island?
I know, dude. I know, because that you know that like that meme that floats around of like these like little, I don't know what they are, like lemurs or something that have like their tails
Yeah.
up. That's what this is looking like to me, because like they look so
Yeah.
tiny because of the way the shot is that we're like flying above them. We know how big they are. They're massive, but just
Yeah.
this island is dwarfing them like in this massive way. This island is huge. And yeah, I don't know. How do you hide all these islands with dinosaurs on them from the world? I don't know.
Henry Wu also developed cloaking technology.
Yeah.
Almost
Well,
like Charlotte
maybe this is
Lockwood.
Manticore. Maybe this is all a fake roof.
Yeah.
Is this a dome? I don't know.
Wait, is this Manticore? Maybe it's Apex.
It could be. I love this shot. Is fantastic. Very Jurassic Park, obviously.
Yeah.
Even like the skin texture, I feel like looks the same. That's
Yeah.
cool. I love the birds landing on the back. That's awesome.
It's a cool touch, isn't it?
Let's see, a lot of similar stuff here. What else we got? What else can we
It's
talk
pretty
about?
much similar right through to the shots of Krebs, which we've spoken about.
Okay, yeah, it was
And
all
then
the Krebs stuff.
actually, to be fair, what we did get in this trailer that we didn't get in the last one was the reveal of Dolores.
Yeah, which is right here. And Dolores is so
Absolutely
cute, dude.
adorable. Yeah.
Yeah, so cute. Love this thing. It's going to be huge. I bet you it's going to be really popular.
Yeah.
And anytime in this franchise, whether it's like Baby Blue or talking about the live tour, there's like a very cute, several cute moments there. Anytime we bring like a baby dinosaur in, it's going to be awesome. And one that fits in a backpack, dude, come on. It's so cute. And it's a warning signal.
That's a playset right there. Yeah.
The dinosaur's a warning signal. Does the dinosaur roar?
She's scared.
Yeah, just very minimally.
Dude,
But
that was
she's-
literally like spot on. Can you do that again?
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody clip that.
Clip that.
She's scared. She's scared.
Dude, sound exactly like it. She's scared. As am I now. But dude, look at this shot.
I love
man.
this shot.
Can
so
we talk about
much
this
with
shot?
The distortus in the smoke, yeah.
Dude, it's so good. Like,
But also, okay, so these coming moments. Okay, so we get this shot. We then get Duncan with the flare again. But
well, that was before, right?
this does pretty much, I think, confirm that Duncan. Actually, do you know what? Maybe not.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
Duncan
not.
here.
Because if you then. No, do you know what? I think this confirms that he dies. Because at 144, so it'll be about 147 for you, you can see the person with the flare. There you go. In front of the Distortus illuminated, and they clearly have the same headgear as him on. And I don't see him being that close to the Distortus and surviving. Now, what he is in is water. So if I was willing to bet money on this, I reckon they're going to do a bait and switch with the Claire Ferrosaurus scene, where he'll go under the water and think he's safe, and then it will snatch him out of it.
That would be cool. I don't know. There's so many different like ways
That
to get
is
out of
one
this.
ugly looking
Dude,
dinosaur, by
it's
the way.
so
Look at how
hideous, and
mangled that jaw is.
I love it, dude. Look at those like lip parts next to like the side of the
Yeah.
mouth that they're just like vibrating. Oh, that's cool. Dude, that's so ugly. Does it look smaller here? Because I feel like it's smaller in comparison to how big it looked in that other shot.
I reckon there might just be a slight issue with scaling in some of the scenes, which they could easily fix.
Yeah, I guess like this shot looks like if you think about how high up they are, look,
Yeah.
there's like a street light down there. He's up in the top of these trees, basically.
I mean, to be fair, we're assuming that's the Distortus, but it could be the Rex.
No, man, it's got to be Distortus. It's got to be like I think the best joke is like,
yeah, no,
oh my
you can
god,
see
a
the arms
T-Rex.
just there.
Yeah, like a T-Rex, and then
Yeah.
when it turns around, it's absolutely not the T-Rex. I think that would be really cool. And you can see like a bulbous kind of head shadow up here too.
I don't know. I'm trying to piece together the arms.
I know, dude. They look big. They look too big.
Because all I'm saying to you is the Jurassic World trilogy absolutely loved its big climactic showdowns. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh no, of course, of course.
So
yeah.
Distortus one side, then Rex emerges from the smoke.
Yeah.
And then
look
a
at that
random
fire
third
breather.
dinosaur appears. I tell you what will happen. It will be Distortus there. It's just killed Duncan. Rex emerges from the smoke, gets his ass whooped. Then out of nowhere, the original Spinosaurus appears.
The original spine. Yeah, man. Let's go, dude. Let's do it. But yeah, you can see why they mentioned it was like a fire-breathing Rex. This is what it's ridiculous, but yeah, we get some more tunnel
Film
sequences.
journalist, eh?
Yeah, we get the gas station sequence with actually it's not even gas, it's just electric.
Dude, with that angle there, it makes me think of Rhino from Spider-Man.
Oh my god,
like
dude, please.
A running brick.
Whatever. Dude. No, please.
Oh my god.
This is me looking at you, dude. Like, what?
Dude, just look, please go back to just before the wings uncle. Look at that, literally looks like a massive man.
It does, yeah. It does.
Oh my god.
Because it was, there was that behind the scenes article or something that talked about the raptors with the white head, the people walking around with the white head raptor things again. So I'm sure we'll see more of that. So it literally could have been just a person standing there. Yeah. But let's see. Is there a bike there? Is a little bicycle or something right over there? Nice. Yeah.
So this is interesting because again, the interior of this structure looks, I would say, older. Like I posted a screenshot online of some of the shelves just here, and I feel like that looks like stuff from the 90s. I don't feel like it's early 2000s.
Well, can we look up that Science Planet?
I mean, so Sick Triceratops replied to the tweet. Shout out to Sick Triceratops, by the way, and said that the Twix logo is the more modern version of the logo. But
is there a Science Planet magazine?
There is, but it's really hard to find the history of it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can't even find anything as far as fair, quickly googling it.
It's on a tropical island, so it could easily have been there since 2010. And if this is 2027, it's going to look quite dated anyway.
Also, got to shout out the fact that it says time travel right behind you.
Yeah.
I said this the other day while recording. There's the boat sequence that references Indiana Jones. It's obviously referencing Jaws. We've got Jurassic. I just needed Back to the Future kind of thrown into the mix. Yeah, and here we are. Don't get us copyright strikes. But here's the time travel.
Because it was that tonally accurate.
Yeah. Dude, what's going on? Why are we referencing time travel? I don't know.
Now we just need a reference to Close Encounters of the Third Kind and we're sorted.
Let's see. So yeah, I what is that? What's that newspaper? The Globe something? I can't read what that says. Um, Dude, the Mutadon looks so sick though. I really dig it. I think
I
it's awesome
think there
design.
was a new Dr. Pepper behind the scenes video shared, and
Yeah,
I'm
there
sure that
was.
in that they were talking about how this was inspired by the gas station sequence in the Lost World novel, which is quite cool as well. Like, it's clear that Kep has really gone back to the drawing board with the Lost World novel and realised that they never used much of it.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's very just like Worker Village too, with the raptor attack and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
I love the lights, like really random detail, but I love the curved lights that are like along the
back there,
Staff Road.
yeah,
Yeah,
all very futuristic, very futuristic. But it's also
why
got a
really?
payphone, so like
Yeah,
I don't know.
I could get us another copyright strike if you want. I can hit some Maroon 5.
Why? Did I say
Have
something?
you not heard their song Payphone?
No, I have not, dude. I have
Okay, I'm
absolutely
not
have
going to
not.
start singing. I'm not
Um,
putting our audience through that, but there's a
no,
song there.
please. Then we got the Mosasaurus sequence. Not a ton to talk about there. It does look very cool. I look how
Although
slimy this thing
it
looks.
looks like they're hitting the rocks here, which is quite interesting again with the whole they seem to run aground. And it looks
Yeah.
like it's the mosasaur that pushes them to run aground, which is quite
Oh,
cool.
yeah. This is the Indiana Jones moment I was talking about. It's straight out of
Yeah.
like the Last Crusade movie. So yeah, but
Oh yeah,
that's
with
cool.
the tank.
With the tank, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love this eye shot here of the Mosasaurus under the water. It's super cool.
Yeah.
They are moving at like a good clip
He's just
here
like,
too.
dude, what up?
Yeah. But yeah, that's the trailer. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think it looks all really awesome, and
I hope everyone enjoyed our 30-minute extended discussion about helicopters.
yeah, I thought we would just do this for like 30 minutes in total, but apparently we've been going for over an hour. But yeah, so that's what you get here when you just talk about 2 minutes of a trailer or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff in here, and I'm very excited. The final trailer that did enough for me. Yeah, it still hasn't won over Aaron. Aaron is still not on board. I sent him a text, and I think he sent back some vomiting emojis. So there's that. But I don't know. Do you think it's capturing?
Come on, bro. Come on.
Do you think it's capturing the general audience at all? What do you think? Have you heard like anybody talking about it or?
Yeah. So I think my gut feel is this is a film for the general audience more so than it is us as fans. So that's where I think it's going to be a bit loose with the lore and stuff. But I think if you're the general audience looking for a popcorn thriller, this is looking good.
Yeah, you think it's going to win this summer?
Yeah,
I feel like this has got to be like our final check-in.
I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will win the summer, to be honest, because there's so much competition. But I think it will be close.
So what's going to beat it?
I think Fantastic Four.
Okay, yeah. I think it could.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that could happen. I don't think Superman will beat it. But
I'm very curious to see what happens with Superman, because it's either going to be a really good film or a very bad one.
I could see a future where like Lilo and Stitch beats it. I could see that happening. No joke. I really do. I think it's going to be a pretty big movie, and it has more time to run than Jurassic World. So we'll see. But yeah, dude. Any other thoughts that you want to get off your chest here before we wrap up this discussion?
I'm at the point where I'm ready for this film now. I've seen enough. I don't want to see any more. I just want to get in the cinema. And it feels weird because at first it's been a slow burn, but now I look at it and I'm like, I can't believe it's still a month away.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna move fast, man. I can't wait. Hopefully we get the chance to see it like maybe a little early. That would be nice if possible. Anywhere. So we can prep some content.
Nudge.
Hint. Yeah. Everybody at Universal listening, because me and Tom, we're good at making content early. So we've done it before for DreamWorks.
The people at Universal, they turned off when we got to the 13th minute of helicopter talk. They were like, yeah, no, this isn't the one.
Yeah. That's probably true. But what are you going to do, man? I don't know. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the score. I'm excited for everything. I think they've been doing some good marketing and stuff, like the behind the scenes and the Dr. Pepper thing and all the merchandise. There's stuff everywhere. They've really seemed to have flooded the market. As far as I can tell, it looks like there's just going to be stuff everywhere, which is good. Really still interested to see like what's going on with video games and other things, other tie-in stuff. Like we still got a long ways to go with a lot of this, and I'm interested to find out how it all goes. So we are getting close.
Road.
We're getting close, man.
We are.
All right.
Some would say we are on the precipice.
Yep. That's a thing someone would say. Anything you want to mention here before we head out? Any promotions?
Yes, because I've just had a panic and pressed the go live button on it on my phone because I forgot it was going out on Twitter, on Instagram even. I don't know if it's playing up for other people, but when we're recording this, the 23rd of May, Twitter is just being really weird, which isn't surprising, really. But
yeah, you should probably get off. I think they just burned their headquarters down or something. So,
oh my god! What I've just published is a video that is reminding people that tonight on YouTube, the first episode of Tales from a Jurassic World Season 3 is going live. So it is titled "Welcome to Biosyn," and if I hit you with the description for a moment, the little tease to get you hooked and ready is Agent Ben Morrison is deployed on a dangerous operation with his partner, Agent Natalia Diaz, but all is not as it seems.
Ooh. What's gonna happen this season? Tonight is not tonight. It's actually 3 days ago, but yeah, you can find it out there currently.
Yeah, so go and listen wherever you listen to Tales.
Yeah, go listen to Tales. Awesome work, and I'm excited to hear the season, man. It's gonna be fun. How many? Just let everybody know.
Finish it.
How long? Yeah, how long you running? How many episodes? What are you doing?
So we have 6 episodes, so we run straight to the week before Rebirth releases. So that will then make the entire of Tales from a Jurassic World 18 episodes, and that is where it will finish.
Oh, sad music. Well, do I have like sad music? No, I think I only have like applause. Yeah,
you can play a celebration one, yeah. Thank God it's over. I know.
Yeah. Where can everybody find you and all the other stuff?
You can find me at Tom_Jurassic on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter. And you can also find me on Jurassic Collectibles. And all I'm going to say is Monday is the street date for Jurassic World Rebirth products here in the UK.
Ooh, you get it early, huh?
I am going to Smith's at 9 o'clock on Monday morning.
Well, so everybody listening to this is listening to this as you're doing that. So that's awesome. Good for you.
Okay, so I might be in Smith's right now.
He's there right now.
So if you see me, say hi. Like, for all you know...
Life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is.
There it is.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
That'll do it for another episode of the Jurassic Park podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening and sharing in our love of this upcoming movie, Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm, I've obviously got my hesitations, but I'm very, very excited. Tom's very, very excited. So thank you so much to Tom for joining me once again. Probably, I would assume, who knows, maybe for the last time before Rebirth. So that's going to be crazy, talking about this movie once it's all said and done. As always, we are in the before. We're in the before of seeing everything and knowing everything, and it's rapidly approaching the after. And I'm looking forward to that day. But as always, it's a little bittersweet, right? When you finally know everything and, that kind of waiting period is all said and done. But look, we're all looking forward to talking about it in the after, everything that happens in this movie. So I'm very excited about that. So thank you so much to Tom once again for joining me. I always appreciate it. Now, before we get out of here, I want to go ahead and read a review over on Apple Podcasts. If you want to, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. You can, we'd appreciate 5 stars, but you don't have to. You can write whatever you want, leave whatever kind of starred review you want. But 5 stars would be great. We'd appreciate it. This one here is 5 stars, and it comes from Indoraptor361, and it says, "Good podcast" in the subject. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And the rest of the review here says, "Good pod. Makes me feel smarter when I'm listening to it." At first, it was a little bit difficult to understand, but as I got more interested in the Jurassic franchise, it progressively became more interesting and fun to listen to. So now I listen to it during a lot of my free time. There we go. That's the review. Thank you so much to Indoraptor361 for the review on Apple Podcasts. And like I said, if you leave a review there, I'll go ahead and read it and respond to it. So that's interesting that you said, maybe it was a little bit difficult to understand at first. And I understand that because we kind of just jump in to every topic, whatever it is, all deep lore stuff. And, sometimes that can be a little tricky, I guess, when maybe you're not fully filled in on the rest of the franchise. And I'm glad that, as you kept listening, you got more interested in the Jurassic franchise and maybe you took it all in. That's really cool. Luckily we are still kind of on that cusp where there's enough to take in and to watch and to listen to read or find comics or toys, whatever, that it's not super overwhelming, but we're on that point where maybe it might start to become a little too overwhelming. Think of how, and I talk about this a lot on the Forcecast, but that moment in time when Star Wars decided to kind of wipe the expanded universe clean and say all that stuff is legends. It didn't actually happen. They're just kind of alternate stories. And then they, erased everything and started fresh. And at that point, I was all in. I'm reading every book at that moment. I'm actually diving into the comic books. But now, a bunch of years later, it's kind of there's so much stuff to take in. And you get lost. And when I'm talking on the Forcecast, sometimes I'm I'm sure there's a story out here for something that I don't know this information about. But I unfortunately don't know every story at this point. So I'm glad we're at that point with Jurassic where we can still know every story that's being told. So it might get to that point one day. And I think we all want it to get to that point, right? Where there's just so much stuff. But thinking about it from a podcast perspective, it might be tough to kind of cover everything. So I appreciate Jurassic for what they're doing. But thank you so much to Indoraptor361 for that review. And glad you're listening during your free time. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'd like to thank our podcast host, Podomatic, for giving us a place to upload the podcast each and every week. Everybody out there, please just know that you matter. I'm talking to you specifically. Stay safe, be kind, fight for representation, change, inequality in the Jurassic franchise, but more importantly, outside of it, in the real world. It's especially needed these days, so let's make sure to make this world a better place. I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to myself for the outro. Take it away.
Saddle up, let's get this movable feast underway.
Continue the conversation with us on Threads and Instagram. Watch our content on TikTok and YouTube. Find us on the web at JurassicParkPodcast.com. You'll find today's episode show notes, articles, contributor bios, and so much more. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our website, and wherever else podcasts are found. So please be sure to follow along and share with your friends, family, and fellow Jurassic fans. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will read your Apple reviews at the end of most episodes, so be sure to spare no expense. Don't miss our Wednesday night live streams, toy hunts, reviews, in-depth bonus content, gameplay, event and theme park coverage on our YouTube channel. If you want to get a hold of us or participate in the Jurassic Mailbag, You can fill out the contact form on our website or send emails and MP3s to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Feel free to call our voicemail line at any time to leave us a message or just to say hi. That number is 732-825-7763. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, enjoy.